So much has changed in my life since I began to make this film about people and their relationship with the earth. So very much. With deep gratitude, I know today that I am a part of this earth and that humankind can once again establish a balance on our planet. A balance that is so important for us simply to be able to live in peace. And this is ultimately what all of us long for. This led me to the work of planetary healers, and what began as a journey to different continents became a journey within.
You matter. That which you are matters. It matters now. It mattered before now. It will matter more tomorrow. That which you are is precious unto the earth. It has always mattered. It has always been of great importance. Humanity belongs to the earth, and the earth belongs to humanity. For you have earned the right to call it yours, to call it your mother, your companion, your friend, your guide. You matter. What you do and what you think and how you think and how you go about your day and your year matters. I am a sentience. A sentience is that which knows and is, feels, speaks, thinks, cares, and loves all at once, without exception, without dividing it category by category, without thinking first and acting later. In other words, the earth is sentient without cause and then effect. It is sentient in the moment. That is how the earth can be alive and aware of everything that is taking place upon the earth all at once, to care about every being and the evolution of all things.
solutions for our planet begin today. We need to understand that we are the family of man, and it's the family of humanity.
Be proud of who you are. We are all given this life at this time within our ancestors that we are here to give, to help one another. So please find that within yourself. We're all here for a very special reason. So let us help one another to grow and heal together as one.
And our purpose here on earth is not to gather goods or to be powerful or to have more money or just to survive. That isn't our purpose. Our purpose is greater than that.
The question of orientation is the central question. It's not about economics or security, but where I find my orientation.
My first journey takes me to Gudrun and David Miller in Arizona. Both share their knowledge of planetary healing with other people in workshops all over the world. And they do the same with me.
My name is David Miller, and I'm originally trained as a clinical social worker, and I worked at a psychiatric hospital. In 1987, my wife and I moved to Arizona, and I continued my career in the mental health field. But I also, throughout this time, studied mysticism, and I have a deep interest in the Kabbalah. Since starting this other work, which is called being a planetary healer, I've been traveling around the world, and I've been writing books. So all of these books are focused on the idea of the Earth and the idea of how to change our thinking of the Earth and how to help to heal the Earth. So I call this whole process planetary healing.
All of us have only one planet to live on. There is no Earth number 2. There is no Earth number 3. There is only one Earth for all of us.
A planetary healer is a person who is working to bring the Earth into balance and to bring the Earth into a more harmonious relationship with nature. Everybody understands that there is a balance on this planet, and this balance is a fragile balance because we need a certain level of oxygen, we need a certain level of nitrogen in the air, we need a certain type of temperature, and there are many things that are so critical to the balance of nature that enables us to live comfortably. And a planetary healer is a person who is aware of this delicate balance, and they want to find ways to sustain this balance and to keep this balance. And they understand that the Earth is a living spiritual place. So the planetary healer is aware not just of the place where he or she lives, but is aware that everything that we do affects the whole globe. So he or she wants to communicate to the globe and wants to communicate to the world that we must all work together somehow to bring the planet in a better balance, to protect and to make sacred places on this planet. To understand this better, let me explain that the planetary healer believes that there are meridian lines on the Earth, And these are like energy flow lines, very similar to what is spoken of when we talk about Chinese medicine and the meridians. And in Chinese medicine, if there is a blockage in your system, then you can have a health problem. And a planetary healer works to find the blockages in the planet and to help to unblock them.
Oi, kakoi ne Ruben Sif kisini yan pahan ma chiu kyang ne mam kasi yan hopi ma chiwa. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Ruben Sifki Sr. And I have a Hopi name, and my Hopi name is Mamkasi, meaning afraid of the bear. But in the Batkingwa, I am from the water clan of the Hopi tribe of Arizona. When we were entrusted as given this responsibility to be caretakers of this land, because when you take care of the land, it will take care of you. Now, since we are living in this very modern day of life, we have forgotten a lot of the teachings, even ourselves. So what we see throughout the world today, it is so out of balance, Since we ourselves individually, not just us as Hopi, but many people throughout the world have become so out of balance. So it is also a very crucial but very special time at this time that we have to come back and connect with our inner self, with our ancestors, wherever we come from, so that we can give back, that respect to Mother Earth that we are all living on today.
Why the waiting and the waiting? To awaken sooner rather than later, to wipe the sleep from the eyes, to wipe the slate clean, to overcome the guilt that has plagued it for century upon century, to overcome the need to make war upon one another, to remember who and what humanity is, to remember its origins, to awaken, to look for the God within rather than the God without, to seek the truth that is already present, to know that the solutions to all problems, the answers to all questions are here and now, solvable, probable, to understand the possibilities and the purpose of the earth and to live in peace.
What I feel that must and needs to happen for us to be balanced again and for the world to come back into balance is that we have to take a very good look within ourselves, our own personal lives first. It is only then that everything can flow again, Like my own personal thing that I had to look at myself. Since that I am out of balance, I have to become balanced again, which is very hard. But everything has to happen through you first. And then when you begin to work on yourself, give yourself that respect, then you begin to give that out.
Nothing lasts forever. No one lives forever. The flower that fades and dies. Winter passes and spring comes. Embrace the cycle of life that is the greatest love. Go beyond fear. Go beyond fear. Beyond fear takes you into the place where love grows. When you refuse to follow the impulses of fear, anger, and revenge. Beyond means to feel yourself. Start every day singing like the birds. Singing takes you beyond, 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 beyond. We need a repeated discipline, a genuine training to let go our old habits of mind and to find and sustain a new way of seeing. Go beyond the rights and the wrongs. Prayer clears the head and brings back peace to the soul. Go beyond to feel the oneness of the unity. Sing. Singing takes you beyond, 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 beyond. We are all the same, all the same. Looking to find our way back to the source, to the one, to the only one. Go beyond revenge. The greatest moment in our lives is when we allow us to teach each other. Go beyond to feel the oneness of the unity. Singing. Singing takes you beyond, 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 beyond. Take the journey. Take the journey inside of you to become quiet, to hear the beyond, to become patient, to receive the beyond, to become open, to invite the beyond, and be grateful. Be grateful to allow the beyond. Be in the present moment to live in the beyond. Start every day singing like the birds. Singing takes you beyond, beyond, beyond. What does love have to do with it? Love grows when you trust. When you trust, love heals and renews. Love inspires and empowers us to do great things and makes us a better person to love. Love makes us feel safe and brings us closer to God. When you go beyond is where you find true love. Keep singing. Singing takes you beyond. 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 Beyond.
The healing of our planet begins in our hearts. You will find healing in the place where love can grow. When love is freed from our fears and doubts.
My name is Gudrun Miller. I am a counselor and I have been practicing counseling for 30 years. I live in Prescott, Arizona, in the mountains of Arizona. One of the things that I really enjoy doing in my counseling is working with people that are awakening. And my birthplace was in Northeast Germany immediately after World War II. And that was a very difficult time in Germany. Both my parents were teenagers during the war, and especially my mother suffered greatly and I think became damaged emotionally. So my childhood was very difficult, and I was very wounded and very angry and felt very much like a victim. But as I matured, I realized that I couldn't just stay in victim awareness or consciousness, that I had to heal myself. I also had a sense that I had more to do in this life than just to stay stuck feeling sorry for myself. So I began to feel compassion and a great sense of forgiveness for both of my parents, especially my mother. And I can tell you that forgiveness is very interesting, because what happens is that it unburdens you, the forgiver, And so what I know for many men is that it's difficult for them to access their heart energy. Part of accessing their spiritual expanded consciousness is opening the heart. In the Western culture, men are taught to be strong. They're taught not to have problems. They're taught that if they do have problems, that they have to manage them themselves. That it's a weakness to ask for help. It's embarrassing and shameful. I think in our culture, men are taught that the emotion of anger is fine for them. And many of the men that come to me are angry. But I understand also that the reason they have so much anger is because they're not allowed to express their grief, their fear, their sadness, and sometimes not even their joy. They have to be strong. And so I think that would be the message that I would want to give the audience, is that for the men that are watching this, that is, whatever it is that you're feeling is very normal, and it isn't a weakness if you are having difficulty and you are having problems, and that there are ways for you to find help and to get your heart healed. And that would be very important at this time. If your heart is broken or blocked or closed, it's much more difficult to be on this planet at this time.
Our heart is the biggest thing. Our mind is very little and minimal to our heart. But when we get in touch with both of them, it becomes one and it becomes much more stronger. So this is my encouragement to everyone that sees this. Feel within your heart. Think within your mind. And find that balance within to give freely, sincerely.
Well, how do you keep your heart open? Well, all of us have things in our lives that we find pleasure with, such as our family, our friends, our hobbies, our interests, our passions, our pets. There are many things that we can think about that bring us to a place of love, where we begin to feel the love in our heart again. Now, where you see me sitting right now is in my garden. Many of you can create beautiful places, even if you live in an apartment. Create altars, create sacred space, to work in your garden, to plant some flowers or trees, to go to a park, to spend the day in the park. I think nature is one of the most powerful healers for us.
Indeed. Humanity must now begin to recognize that the earth belongs to humanity. Who would it belong to? You see, in essence, they claim control over it all, but not responsibility. I'm in control of the situation. I know exactly what I'm doing, except that I might not be doing the right thing. So there is a time of reconciliation that is necessary now, for humanity to see itself reflected in its own light, and that light is earth light. It is for humanity to see its own reflection, its own beauty, its own truth.
My journey then brings me back to Germany. At an international symposium on quantum physics in Heidelberg, I meet the leading scientist, Dr. Roger Nelson, who founded the Global Consciousness Project in 1997. This project makes what we cannot grasp much easier to understand.
I'm Roger Nelson. I'm from Princeton, New Jersey, and for some years I've been directing what's called the Global Consciousness Project. I come to that out of a laboratory experience and, I guess in a sense, personal experience. Many years ago I read from the Jesuit theologian Teilhard de Chardin about a noosphere. His idea was that we humans ultimately are not finished, that there's another stage of evolution, that we will, and maybe we are in the process now of becoming a layer of intelligence for the Earth, a noosphere, a sphere of knowing, like an atmosphere, but now a kind of a layer that we need badly, wisdom to manage this beautiful blue jewel. Now, consciousness is not, we tried to define it a little bit, but it's difficult. It's one of those things that you know it when you see it. In this case, you know it when you have it. Consciousness doesn't exist, however, just in our heads. It's actually almost certainly consciousness or mind are extended out into the world and perhaps out into the universe. This is something that, again, the wise ones from various cultures have said, but I think we're now seeing scientific evidence that consciousness is not confined to the body. So what happens then? My consciousness extends out into the world, your consciousness extends out into the world, and most of the time they just interpenetrate, they don't interact really. But if we're both thinking the same thoughts, or if we fall in love, what do you think might happen to our consciousness wave? They begin to interact and they create something new. Now, the tools that we use in studying consciousness are strange ones. One might ask, what kind of instrument do we have to measure consciousness? And the answer is, we don't. We have to create something. And what we have found in laboratory studies is that if we have a system that's random, that means its future is not determined. It's not even predictable. Such a system has a chance to change. It can change because its future is not determined. So we use very precise instruments called random number generators in order to not exactly measure consciousness, but to register something that happens apparently because of consciousness. We create a sequence of random numbers, unpredictable in principle. No one can know what the next number will be. And somehow, and the question how is something we're working very hard to understand, somehow the presence of consciousness or intention or strong emotion creates a change in this random sequence whose future is unpredictable, so that the future becomes just a little bit predictable. It comes to have structure or pattern where there should be none. What random means is that it's unpredictable, it has no pattern. And in the experiments, in the laboratory, in the field, and now also in this network of instruments scattered around all over the world, we see, instead of pure randomness, we see patterns where there shouldn't be any. And those patterns occur just when consciousness comes together and creates, perhaps, a wave of intelligence or a wave of mind operating in the world.
Humanity does not imperil the earth. In essence, it imperils itself. It does not wound the earth, it wounds itself by not knowing who it is and what it is. And so the wound is one of being asleep. It is one of carrying a sword but not knowing how to use it. And so it carries a weapon rather than carrying wisdom. It satisfies itself with information instead of knowledge. Does this wound the earth? Well, perhaps it can be perceived that way. But it can be righted. It can be righted quickly. It takes a new thought, a new idea, a new day, a new understanding. It takes a community of beings to understand one another. It is a meeting of the minds and a meeting of the hearts, and if it has not taken place yet, then it has not. But it is possible here and now, without exception.
The idea of the planetary cities of light is to focus on raising the energy level and the consciousness of the people living in the city, so that the people are living in more harmony. All of the people in these cities are working together to raise the planetary awareness and spiritual consciousness of the people living there. I want to point out that man is interacting with the earth. So by interacting, I mean that our actions and even our thoughts can affect this balance with the earth. And this is something that everyone can participate in. It even can be done on the small neighborhood level. And everyone can work to have their city designated as a planetary city. So again, you can participate, you can work with us, with the globe, in establishing a great network of planetary cities of light, and this will have a very powerful effect on the blue jewel.
My name is Kate Sparks. I just moved from downtown Chicago. I was on a high-rise, lived in a high-rise on the 47th floor, and really felt disconnected from Earth, from our Mother Earth. So I moved out to Arizona with my husband David, and we've been here for 4 months, and it's fabulous. I've had the privilege of going to many of the City of Lights, Taos, New Mexico, Mount Shasta, Aufkirchen, near Munich in Germany. Beautiful, beautiful. And there's such a loving, conscious feeling when I visited those places, when I lived in downtown Chicago. I would travel to these cities and stay there for days, and there was a respect from the residents, an awareness, an appreciation. It was so deep and so touching. You could see it. You could just see the feelings from the people they had in these beautiful cities of lights. And when I returned to my place, to downtown Chicago, fun and exciting as it was, it wasn't the same. It was so hustle bustle, so crazy that I think people were so busy and so stressed they didn't have the realization that this could even exist, Planetary City of Light. Having gone to these places, that's what I wanted to create. So that was one of my main reasons in moving to Arizona, buying this land and having the space to create a City of Light, to give back for the earth, for myself, my husband, and for everyone who's going to come and visit here. I have great plans and great hope and great expectations and intent that it's going to be a beautiful, spectacular planetary city of light.
It's Brian, whatever, where she said who she is.
So the first step in developing the area as a planetary city of light is to get together a group of people and then go to the cardinal points of the city, like the north, south, east, and west, and form a ring or around the whole perimeter of the city. And you can bring crystals and place crystals at key points around the city. And then at a given time, each one of the people as a group exercise will begin to meditate and will begin to think that we want to bring a powerful white light, a white healing light around our city. And that this white healing light is like an electromagnetic, attractive energy force, and only higher thoughts of balance and love will now be activated in our city.
So we'll
You may also ask the people to sing or chant, because we know that in many of the native exercises, one of the most powerful ways of holding energies and creating energy fields around a certain area is to be chanting. Some people also may be willing to say prayers of protection around the city, and then they see in their visualizations a magnificent light, a white light, a healing light around the whole city. And I want people to also understand that there's a great feeling of joy that they are participating in creating this energy field that will hold the feelings of harmony and love in their city, and that they can feel proud that they are helping their city become a planetary city of light.
Many of the concepts that we are talking about in this film, this documentary, are maybe new to you. And we as human beings are brought up in families, in communities, in cultures, and these families, communities, and cultures tell us, dictate to us what is right and what is wrong, and dictate to us what we should think and what we shouldn't believe in. So here are some new ideas that you're being presented with. The old thought paradigm based on fear, I believe, is that we don't change, that we hold to our old belief structures, that we don't believe that Mother Earth is a living being, that we don't believe we can talk to her, that we don't believe that she loves us like a mother would love her children. I suggest that that is something that's based on ignorance, much like when people thought the earth was flat. They just didn't know. So these are new thought ideas for you to expand your consciousness. And again, if you go into fear and close your heart, then you don't grow. You become stagnant. If you think of a pond that has gone stagnant, no water goes in, no water goes out. it starts to die.
Humanity comes now to a place where it will begin to fear the future. It will begin to fear the earth. It will fear the waters and the waves. It will fear the earth and its rumbles. It will fear the thunders that come from the skies. And it will even fear the water. And it will come a time that it will even fear the stars. Because you see, comes now a time where some of the stars will be seen to fall from the sky. Comes now a time of comets and meteors and asteroids that will be named anew, ones that will be discovered anew in different places. And rather than be amazed by all that can be discovered at this time, humanity will be seen to take 3 steps backwards, and it will recoil from itself in a little bit of fear. It will seem that a fear possesses hearts, and so moments such as can be brought forward in truths such as a new will tell, will bring a peace to humanity then, that the answers indeed are within, that the truths are unfolding just as they have at other times. Matters that this story then unfold so that humanity feels itself safe, even in moments that are insecure.
If I look at the economic and financial crises in our world, I notice that a change is about to take place. And what gives me hope is that the multinationals are also made up of human beings who can change their way of thinking.
Who is Dietmar born? I was born in '38, so clearly several stages of my life are now behind me. I studied mechanical engineering. Then I went into and learned management very early on. I was in management for 23 years in many positions. Early on, I discovered the theme of innovation. Innovation is always defined in terms of capital, information, and technology. And you can buy these in from the outside. The most important aspect of change is always people. And if we look at the world today, as we experience so much upheaval, the first thing people are actually looking for is guidance. You can no longer find this guidance outside. It's the same if you look at the upheavals in North Africa and Egypt that are spreading throughout the world. All over the world, we also have the same structures that are being called into question, that are breaking down, and everybody is looking for new guidance. What we are searching for in vain, we ultimately find within ourselves, if we connect again with the cosmic level. Cosmos means order, and that is also the great challenge, trying to bring the knowledge of metaphysics that I have experienced into management as well. Using the philosophy of metaphysics, we lead people to themselves so they can recognize themselves in order to change everything and become whole, become more successful, first within themselves, using these philosophies.
I ask Mr. Bourne to name me a company where I can take a look at this new approach. And so I go to a farm in Austria.
We are Ignaz and Johanna Leitner. We are in Styria, Austria. Our main line of business is dairying, and the second strand is forestry, as we have 45 hectares of forest. Almost 20 years ago, I did my master training in agriculture. And as in most agricultural training, it was about producing more for managed and economic production. And we both felt at the same time that we did not want to manage nature. So we came to the organic method. We managed our farm in the Organic Harvesting Association for 15 years. We were very committed there, and in spite of that, we felt after 10 years that we were not completely fulfilled, that there was more to life. Now we try to work our farm according to the principles of diversity and with the understanding and potential of wholeness.
There's an old saying that when a young farming couple takes over a business, then there will only be trouble and difficulties in the business for the first few years. We didn't think that that was possible, but it was true. And not only for the first few years, we also had nothing but problems for the first 10 years, especially with the fertility of the farm. The fertility of the cows wasn't that good, and we got every disease that was going in the barn. Although we were organic, and although we looked after our cows carefully, eventually we got the hint that it might have something to do with interpersonal relationships. After we had painstakingly gone through our farm, we realized that it wasn't to do with us personally, but maybe the cause could lie within interpersonal difficulties within our local clubs. And the actual cause for this came to light suddenly. And then we really worked at it, bit by bit. And the more we came up with holistic solutions, the better the fertility was in the barn. That means that there was truly a direct result. The vibration that had blocked us somewhere also blocked our animals.
If mankind recognizes that he is part of the whole, not only as a witness, but also as a creator, and is aware of how much power he has, that he is connected with everybody on the earth, that brings a cosmic consciousness in which everything is interconnected. Animals, plants, and people are one. Even if they don't recognize it now, if they are aware of their power, of their creativity within themselves, the recognition of spirit, then they can use this process of transformation in an accelerated way. This is true for people who already recognize this, who have a higher consciousness. But then those are the people who are also the pioneers for many others, inspired by them. They will ask these people, "Why are you not afraid? Why do you feel so much better than me?" That means we need new orientations in people who feel in themselves that there will be a new solution. And there where the great fear is today, where the momentous events happen every day, war, conflicts, there is also always healing.
We inherited very strong beliefs from the previous generation. Also, everybody around us has their beliefs firmly rooted in nature and also in the Catholic religion. At least most people have. This kind of spirituality suited the previous generation quite well. But this no longer fulfills us completely. We still feel at home with religion, but beyond that, other things may grow. And this growth is what enriches us so much. We can communicate with nature. We ought to do that also. In the past, who would have gone to a tree and said, "Thank you for being there. Thank you for growing there. But now it's harvest time, and now I'm going to cut you down." But that is what is really fundamental for us, because there's a lot of humility behind it, a lot of gratitude for knowledge about our interconnectedness.
As another example, I am also convinced that if I am driving a mower to a meadow and sit in gratitude on the earth for a short time to feel and smell the wonderful grass and plants and really ask their souls to leave, I am convinced that also the plants feel the joy, that I feel a completely different kind of joy from the harvest. And the cycle is completed. Then I have completely different fodder for my cows. And in fact, I am convinced that though there are no scientific measurable differences in the ingredients in the milk, that completely different milk comes from this hay than if I had hired the biggest mower and just mown the plants down. And these are the subtle differences that we are trying to make every day.
And this perhaps makes food into living nourishment.
It is also important for me to recognize even more that we not only manage a farm with 25 cows in the barn, but we also have the opportunity to work with soul beings. Not only the clearly visible physical beings like our cows and calves, but also the spirits in our meadows and in our woods. And this goes further to the higher spirits and the earth spirits, where we really know the goal must be to work together with them, to follow the inner voice, or at least to try not to do anything that would destroy the fundamental harmony of the spirits on our farm. A practical example is that we try not only to speak to the trees and plants before the harvest, or to make them grow well, but really, if there are energy lines on the farm, called ley lines, that you should help and support them, but never cut through them by making a path. That would be one example.
In the past, people were shaped over hundreds of years by their background, for example, agriculture, and they had an orientation from their social environment. They were shaped by their village or their city. They were born there and then socialized. These made an impression. This did not allow people to develop according to their own natures. If they didn't want to become a farmer, they weren't asked. They just had to take over the farm. This great framework which shaped them, which also supported them, had three big pillars. And these pillars were once tradition over many hundreds of years. Then it was confession. That means the various religions which were taught them. And it was the authority through duty, not primarily through personality, but through duty. That was the structure. These three pillars have become broken. They are breaking down. They have no more power. You see that daily on the news. And because of this, the framework has also broken. And now the individual, the person who stood in the middle, who was shaped by outside forces, is free. He is free from tradition and from old confessions, but he has found no direction. That is exactly the situation where people are looking for a new direction. And if they no longer find it outside themselves, be it in their family or in society, then they have to find a new direction inside themselves. That is the new thing. And if they feel it inside, if they feel trust inside themselves, by doing a little meditation and connect with the spiritual world, then they find exactly what they were looking for in vain outside of themselves. That is the new orientation. The old has to go. That's evolution, so that the new can come into being.
My wish for me and the people around me, and above all also for the people in our region, is that we just observe nature more. That, for example, we look at a rose. There you see, when it is in bud, you can really enjoy it and cherish it. And then you can watch and realize that a rose becomes really beautiful when it can unfold, when it becomes a full-blown rose, when it can give off its scent, and when you can really lose yourself in a rose. Everybody would like to be a rose like this. Everybody should be allowed to be like this. I would wish for that. To be able to blossom into a wonderful flower, to become a flower that wants nothing more than to radiate its beauty in just the way that it should. For us human beings, that means that what I want to do, that what I can do, that what I want to bring forth, I should be allowed to do. And I should allow precisely this for the people around me. Also for my companions, my fellow man, my partner, my children, my neighbors, in fact everyone should also be allowed to unfold. What a beautiful, big garden there would be in the world.
One of the last stops on my journey is Lake Como in the north of Italy, where I meet Pepper Lewis. Pepper is an author, and she holds workshops all over the world to bring the wisdom of the earth to mankind. After our conversations, I now know that I am a part of the earth.
One of the first things I teach people is to do something that they've always done, but have forgotten that they do. And that's to be aware of their own thoughts, to observe their own thoughts, to observe their life. Because when we observe ourselves, we are more than just participating. We're doing more than just living in the moment. It would seem to us that that would make a dual, observing and participating. But in essence, the two parts that are actually dual merge together into one, and we become something greater than we were in the moment before. What I teach is something that we've always had, which is the ability to be intuitive, the ability to be telepathic with one another. These are things that we've had long and forever ago, but we've forgotten them. We've come to think that we only have 5 senses, 5 physical senses, when we've always had 7. The 6th being intuition and the 7th being telepathy. And so in the seminars, we become one again. We begin to use these resources again. And the more that we do that for ourselves, we do that with others. As I begin to relate to people and teach them how to feel the earth in the way that I do, I start out in very simple ways. We all have a kinship to some elements of the earth more than others, and to some kingdoms more than others. So some of us relate to water more, or to the earth more, to the plant kingdom more. And so we find that one that's closest to us, and we begin there. For instance, the element of air. If we take the element of air, then I would suggest that that person begin to breathe in a slightly different way. And as we continue to breathe in that way, what we call to respire then becomes to inspire. So these are breathing techniques that have been studied for a very long time. The yogic masters of long ago began this way, but we don't need to know all of those specifics in order to breathe consciously. The moment we pay attention to our breath, we're already breathing with the earth. We don't know it, but our pulse begins to attune itself to the vibration of the earth, to the pulse of the earth. And slowly, we begin to feel that earth resonance within us. That's one simple way to begin. For me, the earth, the element, has always been the strongest. So I will plant my feet on the ground, and I will feel energy. I will send conscious energy to the very core of the earth. And I feel that energy. I push it down to the earth. And there in the very core of the earth, I feel that same pulse. Feels very much like a heartbeat to me. And then gently I begin to start lifting that energy a little at a time. And I bring it up and in and through my body. And then out it comes through my heart. I know it, I feel it as love, as compassion. It's a different kind of love than we have for each other. It's a larger love. It seems to encompass all of us. There have been times, more than I care to mention, where I have suffered and I have been sad and lonely and afraid and separated from everything and everyone that I have loved and cared about. I would like to say that in that first moment that I knew exactly what to do, that I could say I wanted to touch the earth and the earth touched me back. But in that moment, that's not what happened. In that moment, instead I cried out and I said, "Gate, take me out of here. Take me out of this life. Take me out of this situation. Take my pain away. Even if I never feel anything again, I don't want to feel what I'm feeling right now." In the next moment, even though everything I was doing was pushing the earth away and pushing away everything that I knew to be true, because I had already been on this path for a while, instead, I felt this great love embrace me from beneath, from around. I couldn't tell you in that moment if it was the earth or if it was an angel or what it was, but something loved me back. Even when I didn't love myself, something loved me. And I remember that moment. I've never forgotten it. And that moment gave me strength. And when I've had other moments like that in my life where I've needed so much more courage than you could receive from me as I explain it to you now, I have remembered in those moments to now trust the earth and trust that something would embrace me. I don't have to call it the earth, I don't have to call it Mother Earth, I don't have to call it Gaia. I just have to know that something is here, larger than I am, larger than the moment, larger than the pain. And it will love me, and it will love you in the same way, because I am you. I'm not more special, I'm not different, I am you. The earth is our mother. It's our true mother, it's our only mother. The earth provides everything that we need, all of our clothing, the water that we drink, the air that we breathe, the earth that we walk upon. This is our mother. And if we begin to think of the earth in that way, to relate to our mother in that way, then we'll see things begin to change, and very quickly. They'll begin to change right now.
Biorelativity is a system of thinking that is based on the concept that the earth is a living spirit. And many people have a name for the living spirit of the earth, and they call this name Gaia. Now, Gaia is a description of the spiritual energy of the earth. In biorelativity, we believe that we as humanity can interact with the spirit of the earth. Then this interaction can change the way the earth is, and a simple way to explain this is that the earth responds. If man is acting to try and be in harmony with nature and be in harmony with the earth, then the earth will respond harmoniously. Everybody knows that the Earth's weather patterns are so complex. Even the most complex computers can't even predict often what the weather is going to be. So we need to gain a greater understanding of the Earth's response. Now, if this holds, then how we act and even how we think will affect Gaia, and we can help the Earth's responses be more in alignment with what our needs are, so that the optimal environment will be able to be stabilized. And that is what will come when we are focused on biorelativity.
In the radio age, which no longer exists, the most important component of the radio was the transistor. Nothing could happen without the transistor. Everything depended upon that. Now you are in your computer age and your information age, and you have the semiconductor, the other processors. Nothing can happen. No information can be exchanged or processed without this. It is the most necessary part. Now think of the earth. What if I said to you that nothing could happen without humanity? That humanity is the transistor, that humanity is the semiconductor, that humanity is then the bio-relationship to the earth that is necessary for the evolution of the earth to take place. that the relationship between humanity and the earth is that important. Now, that being so, here this answer will confuse you a little bit, because I tell you that it does not matter whether you try to stop a volcano or not. It does not matter whether you tell it to slow or not. It does, however, matter that you recognize that you and the volcanic energy, that matter, are one, that you are made of the same energy. Then it is you that are deciding whether to slow down or speed up. It is you that is moving energy and allowing others to be conscious enough to get out of the way. So you see, you cannot speed up or slow down a volcano. However, because you are one of humanity, you can direct energy, direct the energy of the volcano to be at peace with humanity, in balance with humanity, in balance with the elements. That is where the great learning is. You see, to speed it up or slow it down is an attempt to control it. You will be unsuccessful in this. When you make yourself both at peace and at one with the volcano, then you are free. Then you are free energy. Then you become the director of that energy, because there is no attempt to control.
One of the things that we have discovered by looking carefully at all the different events which we have examined, is that those events which have something like compassion in them, or events that evoke compassion or feelings of love, feelings of connection to other people, those events make our needle move. And I think that means something very important, that human beings are in principle interconnected. We have this fundamental knowledge, but they are more so when emotions like love and compassion come into play. This makes sense. These are emotions which require two people or a group of people. So when we do sort the events by compassion, we find that the more compassion, the bigger the effect. Less compassion, a smaller effect. And I think I have to say I was so deeply surprised when we looked at fear in the same way. The more fear, the smaller the effect. Not bigger, but smaller. Events which are categorized as producing fear produce a smaller effect in our network that's monitoring the consciousness of all of us together. Why? How could this be? And I think the answer, when you think back on how compassion requires two people, fear doesn't. Fear, I draw into myself, I run. I don't connect with other people, instead I protect myself. So I become isolated by fear. Fear isolates us. Compassion and love bring us together.
It is June 2011. What if we human beings, using biorelativity, could bring rain to the Earth at a specific time with our thoughts? I send out a call on the internet. To eliminate, as far as possible, the likelihood that rain will come naturally, the rain experiment should take place on August 14th from 3 to 4 p.m. in the Sahara. A video animation of the visualization is made to help the participants to better prepare to bring rain to the south of the city of Duz in Tunisia. Within 6 weeks, over 2,000 people from more than 50 countries around the world sign up to take part from wherever they are on the day. Overwhelmed by this enthusiastic response, I ask the people to feel and sense the rain in the desert and to send loving thoughts into the raindrops as well as to the other participants. I also ask Dr. Roger Nelson to observe it using his network.
Those that participated in the experiment, as you will call it, are ones that in some way became aligned with the element of water. So those that participated in this then were called by the element of water itself, not weather, not rain as you call it. You call it the rain experiment. I will call it simply the element of water calling forth those who would heed. You did not affect the weather. You did not affect the rain. What you affected then was the entire movement of the energy of water, your simple experiment just to see what would happen, brought about a change in the water table beneath the earth where you stood. In the same way that you looked to the skies to see what would be taking place, it perhaps did not occur to you. No particular thought about water directed in one place can happen without the tables of water to be affected by polarity. You look to the clouds above, and I tell you that beneath the earth was also affected. Not a change in the weather necessarily, but an activation of all of the water tables in everywhere that attention was placed. Now, what does this tell you? First, that you can call this a success, even if in ways different than you imagined. Second, that humanity is capable of affecting great change, not only in its own local environment, but in others as well. Third, that consciousness, when acted upon, when moved by one and by oneness, carries a great and potent power. Fourth, that the element of water cannot act alone. Therefore, if you call upon water or weather, it affects air, it affects earth, and even, sweet one, something that you did not conceive of, that the water that you called upon, while it may not have rained where you were, water came about to put out fires raging in other parts of the planet. That what you called upon the element of water set aside some peace so that fires did not burn elsewhere. You acted upon the element of water, and all of the others were affected in the process. You called upon rain, and water extinguished fires elsewhere. You called upon the skies, and the tables of water beneath your very feet were stirred into action. Imagine what else could be brought forth with humanity's awareness upon this experiment or this action. Those indigenous beings of long ago that would do a rain dance, oh, it was so much more than that. They called upon the seasons and called them into action. They called upon the consciousness of every element to take effect, and you have done the same.
On this graph, the blue line shows what the scientists' computers predict will happen. The red line shows the consciousness or thoughts of the participants.
Please give yourself much gratitude for your life. Find whatever you need to do in your life to help yourself, and that will benefit many others, and that will resonate through Mother Earth, Father Sky, and throughout the universe.
We are all part of the family of man, the part of mankind, humankind. And we carry this. You are my brothers, you are my sisters, you are my cousins. And the earth is our parents. And I want to leave you with that we all walk this spiral together. We dance the same dance together. We will all come to meet each other in some way and at some point. And if we can just know that now, then we won't greet each other as strangers. There won't be boundaries between us. We might speak a different language, but we will recognize each other. I have greeted people and say, I know you. And they've looked at me in that same way and they say, I know you. So I would like to look at all of you now and say, I know you, I feel you. And thank you for sharing this planet and this lifetime with me. Thank you for being part of my life, my truth. Let me honor you. Let me share this moment with you. Let me open my heart to you. And let me feel the same from you. Thank you.
What I wish for anybody who is hearing this is to come together with your friends, your family, join groups who have the best in mind for our future. Help out with creation of a new and very beautiful world.
So everyone can participate in these healing exercises for the earth. And we know that almost everyone on the earth has seen those beautiful pictures that the astronauts took of the earth from the moon. And those images are so beautiful. And when we see those images, we receive the name of the earth known as the blue jewel, because the earth's blue waters seem to be shining and very brilliant, even from outer space, even from the position of the moon. So let's now do a healing exercise using these principles. So wherever you are, I'd like for you to listen to my words, and if you like, you may close your eyes as you hear these instructions. Visualize the earth as the earth was seen by the astronauts, beautifully standing in outer space with the white clouds and the blue waters. And as you are seeing this image, begin to think of the beauty of our planet, and think of the harmony and the balance that was necessary to keep all of our life forms going, all of the beautiful forests, the beautiful oceans, the beautiful air, our skies. And as you are visualizing now our earth, send the thoughts that the forests are thriving, that the oceans are flowing very strongly, that all of the ocean currents are going in the most powerful ways that are most helpful. Think that the oceans are in a temperature that is most perfect for calmness, so that there are no powerful storms being formed, but only the necessary energy to sustain and help us live in balance. Think of the earth and the plates of the earth being calm and not shifting rapidly, but only being in a state of harmony and balance with us. Think of the air on this planet, that the air currents are flowing very gently and in a way that is in most harmony with our needs. And think of all the beautiful rivers and streams that are on the earth. And see these rivers and streams flowing gently but strongly. And think of the beautiful and sacred spots on the earth. All the wonderful beauty of the mountains and the valleys, the beautiful rock formations that are on our planet. And think of all the beautiful beings that are living in our oceans, the whales and the dolphins, for example, the many fish. And think of all the beautiful animals and plants that are alive. And visualize and think of this beautiful energy field that we call the biosphere. And that this biosphere is a force field, a life force energy that sustains all living beings, plant and animal, even the insects, of course. The bees are all part of this biosphere. And send this thought of balance and harmony to the blue jewel. For your thoughts and your energy of balance and harmony can be received by the spirit of the earth. Take a deep breath. And as you do this exercise, know that you are connecting with the spirit of the earth. You are communicating joyful thoughts of harmony and balance so that the earth can be openly receptive to your harmony and your thoughts of balance. When you're ready, you may open your eyes and feel this deep sense of connection to the blue jewel. And know that your thoughts and your energy of healing and balance can make a difference for the healing of our planet.
One heart, one mind, one truth, innocence, purity, vision, completion. We are one, without exception, without beginning, without end. One heart, one loving, living planet, loving, living humanity. I am Gaia. I am the planet. I am one with you. The love I extend to you is everlasting. You will take it with you where you go, in every moment, in every dream, in every heartbeat. Your pulse is Gaia's. Let the moment live on, beyond and within. Let it be, and let it be with you. Humanity dwells in my heart, in the heart of the earth, in the heart, the jewel that is this planet, this celestial body, in the heart of the solar system, visible to all of the stars and all of the other bodies of light, my crowning jewel, my humanity.
Everything you need inside of you, the magic of your life inside of you, the love in all your life is shining through you, the key to everything, it is inside of you. The history of the world inside of you, and all the future too inside of you. For all your ever search is laying all ahead. Take a step and we turn inside of you. Inside of you, there lies the truth. Inside of you, the truth that's you. Just open your eyes and you will find the light is you. The light is you. Inside of you. Inside of you. Everything you need inside of you, the magic of your life inside of you, the love in all your life is shining through you, the key to everything is true, the light is you. Inside of you, the lies the truth. Inside of you, the truth that's you. Just open your eyes and you will find the light is you. The light is you. Inside of you. Inside of you. The love lies in you. The love lies in you. Love is you. The love is you.
That which you are matters. It matters now. It mattered before now. It will matter more tomorrow. That which you are is precious unto the earth. It has always mattered. It has always been of great importance. Humanity belongs to the earth, and the earth belongs to humanity. For you have earned the right to call it yours, to call it your mother, your companion, your friend, your guide. You matter. What you do and what you think, and how you think, and how you go about your day and your year matters. Humanity matters and has always mattered, and is near and dear to my heart, as it has always been, as it will always be. There is not a moment that passes where humanity has mattered less or more. Always precious, the most precious gem of them own. Humanity dwells in my heart, in the heart of the earth, in the heart, the jewel that is this planet, this celestial body, in the heart of the solar system, visible to all of the stars and all of the other bodies of light, my crowning jewel.